Well, it's garden tour time again. Welcome back to the Bad Back Gardener. My name is Kevin and I'm your host. And today's video we're going to be doing our garden tour here, and it's about middle to going on the end of July here, and we're going to give you a tour of the grounds and gardens and see what our progress was. Also stay tuned at the end. We've got a bit of a surprise for us, so we'll get started with that. Alright, we're going to start off here in the raised bed garden, and we'll see how everything is going with it. My fabric and stuff, if you've seen my earlier tours of the garden, I put some of the black weed fabric down, and I'm real happy with how it's doing. Haven't been done very little weeding this year as far as the paths and stuff. The beds have been a little bit different story. Had a little bit of a grassy weed problem, but nothing too bad. As always, you get a few weeds, but the garden's doing pretty good. It actually, as you can see here on these tomatoes, they kind of bowled over here. They got so big, and if you can see that second bed, how tall it is, they're about a foot or two taller than I am. So you're talking they could be up to almost 8 foot tall here in certain places. But we had a storm. They got so big and they got so thick and got so loaded with tomatoes that we got a windy storm and stuff, and I was battling losing them. They were all falling into the paths and everywhere, so my supports that I had put up just gave way. They were just too many tomatoes and too much tomato plant to hold them all up, and they were a lot of the stuff broke. So what I ended up doing here, as you can see, I got some metal posts and I've screwed them and strapped them onto the beds, and then I've tied them all up, so at least they're out of the paths. They don't look the greatest. They've kind of all fallen in together, but they're out of the paths, and I can still pick the tomatoes the way they were. I would have never got the tomatoes on the bottom of the paths. It was just too thick. So it was a battle, but right now I've pretty much got everything harnessed back into where they need to be, and they're producing a lot of tomatoes, so we're doing good. So we'll start off with the row here with the tomatoes. Like I said, these are pretty thick bushes, and I'm getting a fair amount of ripe ones. They're all starting to ripen up, not just my early tomatoes, but my other raised beds that had the tomatoes are now starting to ripen up. And you can see how tall these are getting here. I mean, this is my height here, so they're getting pretty thick. These ones are even taller down here. So I have to harness them in. I'm probably gonna have to do it again. But got a little bit of a blight going here on a few of them. I've been trying to control that, but hasn't been real easy. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of wind. So you can even see my peppers have gotten some wind damage here and blown over. They're still producing peppers, but they're just blown over. Not a big, huge deal. But yeah, I'm getting some nice tomatoes here, ripening. It's a lot of different kinds here, as if you caught my earlier videos of planting the tomatoes. So we'll take a walk back here before we start down the paths again. A lot of peppers in there, doing pretty good. So this is the back garden area on the don't have the beds, and you can see we have our spaghetti squash is going crazy. I got quite a lot of spaghetti squash. And then we have, this is a hybrid squash down here. You can see in there. They're growing pretty good. And over here, we got some pumpkins started. It's coming a little wet down here. Got some pumpkins started. See a little one in there. I haven't even looked around to see what all is coming along in there. One thing I haven't seen yet is there's some melons in that group of patch there. It's getting so thick until they get too big or bigger. I haven't seen any melons developing yet. I got a lot of blossoms, but I haven't seen any actual melons growing yet. So hopefully we get some cantaloupes here and some melons growing. So we'll continue on up here. I have finished putting the fence up in the garden here. You see along there, hold it in. These are potatoes here growing and flowering. They're doing pretty good. And then here we have, right on this side here, we got cucumbers. And I've been eating cucumbers like crazy because I'm getting all kinds. This is my latest patch. These are the ones up here we've been picking, and I've had some go to waste, as you can see. Pretty big ones. Pretty big cucumbers. I'm getting quite a few, more than I can eat, really. And these are the peas here that have kind of fallen over. They didn't get tied up, and they're kind of getting big. You could pick them actually for the peas. These are snap peas, and you usually eat the pod and all, but now you just would eat you could get to pick the peas and eat them. But pretty good that way. And then up here we have more tomatoes. This is my newest bed this year, and I had a heck of a time. They all come tumbling down on this side here, and I had to put the supports back up and yank them back up. Lost quite a few green tomatoes, fell off while I was doing it, but I didn't have much other choice in the matter. And then in this bed here, it's all pretty much old stuff except for the onions. I got some old peas I need to tear out. I usually let them turn brown before I tear them out. Those are some old turnips that are softball size. They're way too big to really be any good. And then in this bed is more peppers, again blown over by the wind, but still producing peppers, so can't say too much. I just wish they wouldn't be falling into the aisles here. And this is all my bed of potatoes here, and they've grown and grown and grown and flopped out into the ground, and I've tried to wrestle them back into the bed and without much success, but they're still growing pretty good. And then over here we have my early tomato patch. That's where I've been getting most of my tomatoes from, and it's been producing, especially the 4th of July's are always reliable and early, so we feast on those. So, and then got some onions here growing amongst the weeds. I just planted some new onions recently. I kept the bag out and planted them, so I have some green onions. This is head lettuce, and looks like it's starting to form little heads there. Let's see. I've never had too much luck with iceberg lettuce, but we'll see if they form. Then over here we have our beans. These are Oriental Wondered beans and Vortex beans, and they are starting to produce now. Haven't picked any yet, and I actually didn't realize they were getting so big down here, but they need picked. And then we have over there some cilantro and some more turnips. Those ones are still edible yet, even though they look huge. Plants do, but we've still been eating those some. And then over there is some more peppers. This bed of peppers is not really branching out too much. They're growing peppers, but it's not like the other ones are getting big and bushy. So, not sure why, and that bed didn't do the greatest, but that was part of the bed that I had to replant a few of the peppers, so that may have been what contributed to that. So that's pretty much the raised bed garden. It's producing. I'm getting a lot to eat here, so now we'll go on here and go around the house here. And then you've seen where I started the video here. Got a planter. It's my purple planter, I call it, because everything's got a purple, touch of purple to it. Those are flowering a little bit. Got some Dusty Miller in there. So those are doing good. And then these are my Dracaena that I keep year after year. This one's got a few zebra mallows growing out of it, but I let them go. They're doing good. And then I got some baskets here. This is kind of my shade basket with fuchsia and some impatiens in it, and some zinnias there. And then another basket up there with wave petunias. And you can see there. They're coming along. So that's it for that area. Go up around this side of the house. You can see all the rows of Sharons that are blooming right now. We've got white and pink and purple rows of Sharons all up alongside there. And a few weeds that need weeded here, but a lot of coneflowers. Butterflies. Seen about 3 or 4 monarchs were flying around tonight. Flying around here. So, and then I had the birds did some planting of their own, and they planted some sunflowers. So from feeding the birds, apparently we got some sunflowers. That's the zebra grass. It's gotten huge again this year. And over there is my palm trees and stuff that I grow indoors here. Another basket here with some zinnias and some sweet potato vine and some vinca. It's doing good. Nice and full. And you may have seen the video of me creating that area there. Cleaned it out, made a stone bird bath, and then it's one of my planters here. It's doing good. A couple more baskets there, if you can see them in the sun. Good. Another one of my pots I planted. And over here, if you've seen this video, I made a shade garden over here. And it's mostly hostas. Coral bell is not growing very good. But my biggest battle so far has been the wildlife have taken a real liking to the hostas, so which I knew kind of was going to happen, but they really have hit them hard at times. So I've had to use some repels all on them, and it seems to have helped. It hasn't hindered it altogether, but it has helped. So this is the one that haven't seemed to bother for some reason. So, and then over here in this world of weeds over there is I got 3 different patches of corn going there, planted at different times. Same type of corn, just planted at different times. The very back corner there is the first that's going to come on. Not sure how good they're going to do. They were looking really good, and then lately they just haven't grown as much as I'd like to see them. So we'll see if we get too much corn. But I've had this front was my last one I planted, and the deer, I believe it was deer or groundhogs, were feasting on the corn and nibbling them down. So they are. Ended up getting a fence up around them. They are coming back and making a comeback. So we'll see how much I get out of it, if anything. So hopefully I get some corn. Again, the weeds are just wanting to take over. I tried to keep up with them, and it was just taking on so much time that I'm just letting the corn kind of battle the weeds by themselves. Not too much going on in this bed. It's mostly green. All the flowers and stuff have long since exited. They're more of a spring flowers there. Over there we got a couple more baskets. And then I had a black-eyed Susan that I had a lot of. I dug them up and divided them up because I was making the one garden where I wanted them to go, and I was trying to block off some of the weeds, so I had to dig them up. So I transplanted some of them in a pot there, and then here is my future plantings here. The black-eyed Susans, and then I got some hostas there still, and just kind of waiting for me to do another shade garden here. So, and then over here, my knockout roses are flowering over there, and then I got a pot of marigolds over there. And then we're coming to the surprise. And my lifetime project is finally on its way to be completed. As you can see, if you've caught any of my other videos, I've been working on this porch for years and years, and I finally got some rocks down. I was debating on cementing it or not. I went with the rocks for right now, so I got planted some planters, got some tropical plants going here, and landscaped the front a little bit here. I got to add some more to that yet here, probably this fall. But so that's the final result here. I'm gonna include a picture of how it looks at night here with the lights and stuff all on. It looks pretty cool. So, and then you've seen this part of the garden. Now I got my banana tree over there, and my canna lily are really going to town. They're doing really good. So that's pretty cool. They're getting really big. And then down here, planting some bird of paradise. I'm hoping to try and overwinter some of these to keep them going. And then over here, another banana that was planted later than that other one. I went back, I liked that one so much I went back to the store and got another one. Planted it, it's starting to catch on now. And elephant ears, if you've seen the video of me planting elephant ears, they're doing really good, getting really, really big. Another one over there. And then got this basket here with a lot of my zinnias. My profusion zinnias are coming, and they will take over the baskets eventually, but that's all right because they go pretty strong. So, but yeah, these yellow ones and pink ones are these profusion zinnias. So that's doing really good. Okay, that's going to do it for our July tour. That was our big surprise here at the end. After many years of working on this patio area with building rock walls and building these kind of adobe kind of looking walls, and getting lights put in and leveling ground out, and doing a lot here. It took quite a while to do, and it's been years in the making, so it excites me more than it probably does a lot of you, but it's kind of glad now that I can just have a usable space. So that's going to do it for this July tour video. Catch up with me on Facebook. You can also email me at bbgardner@zoominternet.net. And as always, if your back ain't hurting, you ain't working.